What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media Channel. It's Sunday night. The Patriots are getting their asses handed to them. I was just talking, Mazur and I were just talking football here just before we came on the air. And I said, you know what? I really haven't consistently watched football in like 2 years. But, listen, there are Patriots. Hopefully, look at it. I just was saying to someone today, might as well just tank the rest of the season, get a first-round pick, and go from there. But we'll see what happens. But welcome in, everybody. I see a lot of Go Squad members. I see moderators. Thank you for continuing to help us here spread the awareness of what's going on in the trooper Enrique Delgado-Garcia case. I mean, this has been way past 90 days. We have some new updates. And what I thought would be really great, what we could do is, if this is, for first-time people coming over to the stream, I wanted to get Maza on and go through some revisionist history, just kind of through some media clips that were out there, because we really still don't know a lot of information. We get little pieces that get trickled out here and there, and we try to put the puzzle together, but it's still not the full balance of everything that's going on in this case. But I'm not going to wait too much longer. Let's get Maza in here. Has been a while since he's been on. I'm very excited to do a show with him, and we'll bring him in here. Mark Maza, what's up, dude?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
I know it's been a while. It's been a while, and I'm really glad that reached out to you today and said, hey, would you like to come over and talk about Enrique? And you said absolutely. So
you got it.
A lot of things have been going on. We had some movement here over the past couple of weeks, and like I said, I thought it'd be kind of, I don't want to say great, but I think it would be good to go back and look at how this initially was all reported, and things that I found that were very odd that came out right away that may give us some clues as to truly what happened there. And again, like I was saying, we really don't know. We can only guess at this point, and go from there. And it's just really sad. Over 90 days, man. Like what's going on?
Well, first of all, just the highest level of respect to you, Brian, for what you've done. You've been a torch carrier for Enrique Delgado-Garcia's path to justice. And by doing what you did, by putting up that road sign billboard image on Route 1 and Gillette, near Gillette Stadium, was absolutely huge. You've got a lot of media coverage out of that, which is fantastic. And well, sometimes that might seem like, you're getting a lot of attention for that. Your intention is to just get attention onto Enrique, and you've really gone ahead and gone on the front lines and gone above and beyond for that. On my show Friday, solo show I did give you a shout out at the beginning of that show just to recognize you for your efforts. What you've done is huge and is a big piece of this, and I think has gone a significant way in reigniting the outcry of support for Enrique that a lot of media outlets have not covered recently or effectively enough, especially over the last month and a half. And that's kind of reignited that with a lot of news articles picking up your efforts. And I think that's very huge, that this is a story that cannot be overlooked. And I asked two questions. The first question is, where are the answers? And the second question I ask is, where is the justice? And those are two things that we have not been provided. And of course, justice we hope will come, but first and foremost, the answers is what we seek first and foremost here, because there has been nothing provided. And the powers that be across the state have been extremely silent and absolutely insufficient in providing that. So just again, a round of applause for you. And if we can just go put some clapping emojis in the chat for Brian right now, just for what he's done here. Putting himself out there to just raise awareness for Brian. I've had people contact me and to say Brian's doing an awesome job, and what he's done with that billboard was huge. So again, Brian, man, great job, man.
No, I really appreciate that. And, I don't really want to make this about me. I want to make it about the family, and I listen, I understand what you're saying. You're my friend, you're my buddy, but this is really about the family, because like as you were saying, it's been really well over a month, past a month and a half. We haven't heard anything, locally here in the media. And listen, like, we can only beat our drum so much from our tiny YouTube channels. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's face it, the Boston media has a lot more, mainstream media has a lot more reach than we do. But if I can get here and just keep pounding on the table and going, all right, we need some fucking eyes on this case. Let's do it. And I think for me was, when I met with Enrique's family, back during the Michael Morrissey standout. I forget the date off the top of my head. It's well over a month ago. And when I saw the pain in their eyes and the tears, you know, it really gripped my heart. And they are really, I don't understand. I don't think people understand the level that they are really hurting at. And I've had the privilege now to build a relationship with them, and a trusting relationship. They've shared photos of Enrique with me. I had some videos that I've just, you know, posted up to kind of bring, bring just some awareness of who he was. And, you know, like every picture that I've ever seen of him, he has a smile on his face. And to me, you know, the stories that I've been shared by the family is that this guy was just a really good guy and wanted to do right by his family and the community, and get out and use his abilities to help solve problems and bring justice into our communities. So I thank you for that. But I also want to thank all the wonderful subscribers, the members, and the supporters of LTL Media, and, you know, the other creators as well, because if it wasn't for the people that support these channels, it would not put me in a position to be able to do what I did. And it's like, you know, like I made the sign and I stood out with a sign, and I made a banner and I stood out with a banner, and I just felt like that wasn't ringing the bell enough. And I said, fuck this. I'm just gonna put a website together, a very simple website that people can and understand. And then we're going to get it really big. We're going to get it up billboard and whatnot, better place in front of Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Absolutely. It takes everybody. That's for sure, Brian. But I still think you needed some special recognition, because you put a great effort forth. And it's what happens is that it's about individual efforts as well as collective efforts when it comes to freeing Karen Reed, Sandra Birchmore, all that. And we all have to always, you know, be willing to do something like that. So I thought that was awesome. And again, there needs to be attention on Enrique. Enrique's family deserves answers. They deserve justice. And, you know, unfortunately, what's happened has happened, which is an absolute tragedy. And it's an unacceptable tragedy. It's something that should have been prevented wholeheartedly. And there's never an excuse for a Massachusetts State Police Academy to ever allow something like that to happen. But at the end of the day, this family deserves answers. And if they're not getting them, then we know for sure this is an absolute cover-up that we all believe it to be, and that powers that be are covering this up because they don't want to be exposed for what really happened.
Yeah, the thing is, my voice cracked. The thing that's really irritating about it is, where is everybody? Where are his patriots that stood next to him? Why has no one come out and said anything? You know, they had a fucking graduating class. You can't tell me that one person in that class doesn't feel compelled enough to come forward and say anything. So what does that mean? Did all these, you know, men and women sign a non-disclosure before they graduated? And why would you even graduate? You lost a fellow trooper to a beating, and you're going to go up and graduate? To me, that felt like a major slap in the face, man.
Yeah. I'm still concerned that a scenario took place where none of them were nearby when this happened, and that they somehow flushed him out of his bed or something in the middle of the night, and you know, something like that.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket, or what's the other one? Few Good Men. You know, the Code Red,
something like that, where they said, "Hey, you know, we're going to have you stay and not, you know, go to bed tonight and stay out and do this," and then they eventually did it in private, where these other cadets never knew what happened. You know, that's one scenario I'd sometimes think about, because when I wonder why these cadets wouldn't say anything other than the fact that they'd be scared. But usually there's always at least one person out there that's a little bit more rebellious against this. Like, hey, man, this happened. This was sickening. And, you know, that's why I always sometimes wondered, did this happen in front of them? Did it not?
Right.
But if it didn't, you know, that's even more of a cause for an alarm, that they could just basically poach a cadet out of their room, or refuse to allow them to go to their room, and just basically do what they want to them, and end their life in a way that's extremely, I mean, the damage to his body is madness.
I've seen it. I saw the photos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing that I ever want to look at again, but they'll be burned in my memory forever.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the injuries that I saw, it's strained, Mazza, and I don't like to compare, but I'm probably going to compare here. They're pretty similar to John O'Keefe's injuries. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
So that, to me, it's a beating. I mean, they beat this guy up. But so let's do this. I thought we could go back and look at some of the initial reporting and what the things that were said. And things that I saw that I found very, I think, eerie about all of this is that with the timing of all this information and the people that did stand up right away, we had, the initial report from the family. They were at UMass Worcester. We're going to see that here in a second. And they're going to talk about Enrique's injuries and talking about the authorities running away and not wanting to answer for anything. And then it was, just a couple of days later, we had some cadets that came forward. We had John Baptiste that came forward, and he talked about possible scenarios of racism and, the way that he was treated and then eventually kicked out during his training. So I thought we could go through that, run through these videos and kind of put some context to it for first-time viewers that might not be, not really keen to what's going on here. Let me just pull up this video here. Oh, let's see. What do we got? I'll find the window here at some point.
Sure, that's all right.
Okay, here we go. I got
there
it.
It is.
Sometimes
StreamYard, get there.
Yeah, you're running all over the place in StreamYard here. Yeah. Let me play this. I'm just going to turn my heat down a little bit. Be right back. Yeah.
Ese golpe tan fuerte a mi hijo que me lo mató.
It's just not right, and I personally don't really buy this boxing story.
And first at 11, family and friends absolutely heartbroken and looking for answers after their loved one, who was a recruit with the Massachusetts State Police, died from injuries he sustained during an exercise at the academy. That recruit you see right there, just 25 years old. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm Colton Bradford. Glenn and Priscilla have the night off. Only NBC 10 Boston's Jericho Tran spoke with Enrique Delgado-Garcia's family moments after his death. She's live for us tonight from State Police Headquarters in Framingham. Jericho, the agency, they released a statement about an hour or so ago about the incident. What are they saying here?
Well, Massachusetts State Police released that statement confirming that Enrique Delgado-Garcia experienced a medical crisis during a training exercise. But I spoke with Delgado's family, and they say a training exercise does not explain how he had a broken neck, missing teeth, and brain injuries.
Ay, mi niño.
The cries of a grieving mother.
¿Por qué se llevó mi hijo? Mi hijo era tan bueno, tan bueno.
My son was so good. I just want to understand why they took my son.
Ay, mi niño.
Mixed with anger and disbelief.
They killed my cousin, and they run away like cowards.
I miss you.
After the loss of 25-year-old Enrique Delgado-Garcia.
He's the best of all of us. All he did was study and run. That's all he ever did.
Massachusetts State Police say Delgado suffered from serious injuries during an exercise at the New Braintree, Massachusetts State Police Academy on Thursday.
Teeth missing, brain injury, that didn't come from boxing, especially a round of 2 minutes.
We spoke with former state trooper Todd McGee, who helped to reinstitute the exercise at the academy, consisting of 2 rounds of boxing where trained fighters were not allowed to take part.
And if you stick to goals and objectives, it should be safe. Can injuries still happen? Yes, but to the level of this degree, you hope not to see something like this ever happen again.
But Delgado's family and friends,
they're trying to cover it up,
say his injuries are not consistent with what he would have sustained during a defensive tactics training exercise.
Why
did he get hit so hard that it destroyed his brain and broke all of my son's teeth? He also had a fracture on his neck, my son. Now they're calling for accountability.
They need to thoroughly investigate this, and justice needs to be brought.
And answers from the Massachusetts State Police.
No settlement is gonna freaking bring my cousin back.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
They know what happened.
And while the family continues to search for answers, the Massachusetts State Police says they'll continue to support the family as much as they can. Delgado was training for 3 months. He was set to graduate in 2 weeks. The Worcester County DA is also investigating this. They say that Delgado was a former employee. In Framingham, Jericho Tran, NBC 10.
Yeah, support them as much as they can. How about getting them some fucking answers to what happened to their son? How about that?
Yeah, for starters, for goodness sakes.
It's sickening. Go ahead, Mark.
No, it's sickening. It's sickening to watch that back. I believe that was his cousin with the white shirt there.
Amel.
Yeah, he was he just kind of really said it as it is. It's just, it goes back to that. What people may know, I do martial arts once a week. Yeah. There's sparring in that. Occasionally, I get dinged. Occasionally, I ding somebody, but there's nothing that even is anywhere near what Enrique sustained. And as anything, like we watched in a video, I believe we watched a video on Georgia training at a state police academy down there one time on this program. You see it, they usually have protective headgear, mouth guards, boxing gloves on, and it's really hard to get those kind of injuries in those kinds of scenarios. Additionally, there are usually trainers that are around that will typically step in. And when you punch somebody and you see your opponent staggered, you usually lay off in a training situation. It's not a real fight. So typically, if someone had hit him in a training exercise with protective gear on or not, it doesn't matter. Usually they'd probably lay off for a moment or two to make sure he was okay and give him a chance to recover. And there wouldn't be a situation where he was beaten to death with teeth and all kinds of other injuries that he sustained. It would be absolutely impossible for him to sustain those kinds of injuries unless he was blatantly beaten over a period of time for those significant injuries to take place. And that's what brings you back to the fact that this something here was a lot more significant. And, one thought I get concerned about is maybe sometimes those cadets aren't saying anything if those cadets were actually put up to it by the trainers and carried that out themselves, and there was blood on their hands and they couldn't actually speak out about it. So, that could be a situation or potential situation that took place as well. Either way, the academy themselves are responsible for that. And that's really, really sickening. And it's really troublesome that this kind of situation can go down and there's no answers. There's no accountability for this. There's nobody out there saying, this is what happened. They're trying to keep this under the rug and they hope that it goes away, that this story won't be discussed anymore, that people will forget about it, that it gets out of the consciousness of everybody in this state and across any other area that's familiar with this particular story. And that's what they want. And because that way, the more it goes away, the less accountable they are for having to speak to it on a public basis. And the more of a public uproar there is, the more that they have to answer to it, which brings it back to our efforts. And I'm responsible for this too. I have not talked about this as much as I should have over the past few months. And perhaps I need to step up my game on this because this is just like the Karen Reed case.
Join the fight. Join the fight, Mark. You have a voice. You have a voice in this too. I get it. We are very pro free Karen Reed, but just this one here, spending time with his family and just seeing there's it's just empty answers. There's nothing. There's nothing. And it's very frustrating. And, I'm looking back and talking, thinking about, all the boxing matches I've seen, the MMA fights, the bare knuckle fighting. I mean, that's a big thing now on YouTube. I have never even seen this type of the way that they're describing these injuries. I've never even seen it during any of those hand-to-hand combat. So this just tells me they held this guy down and beat him to death.
That's right. And it may or may not have involved fists. It could have involved fists, but something else. It's just, if someone had told me they took a sledgehammer and threw it at, and I'm not trying to be too graphic here, but if someone had told me they took a sledgehammer and hit him in the face with it, I wouldn't be shocked at this particular rate, considering how difficult sometimes it can be to damage teeth. It's a sickening story. It's a horrific story. And the worst part about this is that this could happen to a cadet. And there's no answers, even after 90 days. And you've been adamant on X about, confronting Maura Healey and many other people in positions of power in the state of Massachusetts about this. And they have time to talk about all kinds of other things, but they never seem to have any time to talk about this. And when they do talk about it, when they're cornered, it's usually a public relations statement. This is a terrible tragedy. We're going to look into this. Enrique deserves and his family deserve answers. But then there's nothing. They don't follow through with that. It's all lip service. It's all public relations nonsense. And there's never any accountability from these particular people in those positions of power to speak out about it.
Yeah, and perfect example. I'm glad you brought this up because here we go. Someone from the Worcester DA's office. We know that Enrique worked there, and we'll get the comment here. And I believe this one also has Maura Healey in it, and we'll hear her very political answer in all of this too. Lori says, Brian's billboard is amazing. We drove by it today. That's awesome. And I want to remind everybody, I'm going to finance the billboard out of my own pocket again in January. So once this campaign ends in the spot that it's over at the Hertz parking lot outside of Gillette, We're going to move it to the opposite side of the street, and it will be in front of the Foxborough State Police barracks, and it will go there for another month. And then I'm going to probably have to go into some kind of crowdfunding if we want to keep the board going. So I just haven't figured out the best way to do that. And I'm a little iffy on it because I'd really like the money to go to the Delgado-Garcia family, their GoFundMe. I have that in various articles, and I posted all over Twitter as well. So it's kind of a delicate dance that I'm trying to walk here. But maybe we can figure something out and get creative with it, because I do want to keep doing it. And if I can't do it in March, and hopefully we don't have to keep doing this for, a lengthy amount of time, maybe we just pause for a month and then come back to it. We'll figure something out. I promise, because this is really a mission to keep this going. So Lori, thank you so much for the $10. She says Brian's billboard is amazing. We drove by it today. And again, I want to stress this. It's not my billboard. The power of this channel allowed me to do that. It's the community's billboard. You all help build that billboard. So I want to make sure we get that out there. And I'm very gracious because it was a creative idea. I used donations that I got here through my channel, and I wanted to do something with it and give back to the community. So this is really the community board. But thank you. I appreciate that. And we also did get $20 on a Cash App. So we're going to add that. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to try to do my typical 25%, no matter what the amount is. And maybe we can get a little money for the GoFundMe today. We'll kick back 25% to the Garcia GoFundMe. All right, let's hear this. This is a gentleman out of the Worcester DA, and see what they have to say for themselves. So this is the 16th. So this is 3 days after, and that was the Joe Early press conference, the very uncomfortable press conference where, the family actually went to the DA's office to pick up some of Enrique's belongings, and kind of got courted through that press conference and was really caught off guard. And, when we've gone through that, it's a very uncomfortable situation for them. And I wasn't too happy about it, but we'll hear.
We're going to stand and we're going to fight for an impartial, unbiased, transparent look into this matter.
Questions remain about the death of Enrique Delgado-Garcia. The 25-year-old cadet at the State Police Academy became unresponsive Thursday in a boxing ring during a training exercise. He died at the hospital Friday.
Everyone loved Enrique.
An emotional Worcester District Attorney remembering Delgado-Garcia, who worked.
I just want to point this out too, and I'm going to go back just for a second. This is the posture every single time I've seen. This is Enrique's mother, Sandra. This is her posture all the time. This woman is hurting. We need answers, Maura Healey. We need answers, Mass State Police. We need answers, Attorney General Campbell. Please get this family some answers. They are hurting. I mean, this is the holiday season, and they have to go through a holiday, and they just spent on Saturday, they were just at the cemetery 3 months without answers. Let's get this family some answers. Let's stop.
Emotional Worcester District Attorney remembering Delgado-Garcia, who worked as a victim advocate for a year and a half right before entering the academy in April. His mother and other family members in tears as the DA recalled Enrique's dedication.
We try and get him to go home. Say, Enrique, what are you doing here? It's time to go home. And he said, no, Mr. Early, I'll be leaving soon. I got a few things
exploiting this family.
Yeah, it's motherfucker.
Those close ties are why DA Early says his office cannot lead the investigation.
I'm looking for someone who can look at this with an independent view, who doesn't have a stake in its outcome.
Early would not address what's been uncovered so far, saying the autopsy report is not finalized and the incident was captured on video. The family, asking for privacy, did not comment. Worcester City leaders calling for an impartial investigation.
The one thing that we know is that transparency is important to the family. It's important to the community.
So it's unclear when a decision will be made about who will lead this investigation. State police troopers with the Worcester DA's office, though, will continue their work. The Attorney General says she is in conversation with the Worcester DA about who would be the proper authority to take over the case.
Yeah, sure. oh, well, we're going to investigate and we want an impartial investigation. It's all it's political thought. I mean, they're just going to throw it out there and just it's just big political campaign now.
Yep.
No answers.
None.
Where is people now? Where's that guy now?
Oh, I know. Yeah. And we're going to be 180. It'll be 180 days out before you know it. We'll be asking the same exact questions, and then it'll be 250 days and beyond. And we'll be like, where are the answers? They're gonna. Their goal is to make sure this thing never sees the light of day and it stays as quiet as possible. And they force us to all fight from a grassroots level to try to pick this up as a collective movement of individuals in support of Enrique Delgado-Garcia and his family together, attempting to push this. And it's sickening when you look across the state and you meet, even at a lot of Karen Reed standouts, you'll meet a lot of other folks that are supporters of Just En Route. I remember being outside the hearing for Karen Reed, and a woman had approached me and another woman that were affiliated with Just En Route, and they were sharing what was going on. I saw many other people walking around that were families of victims and other situations that had similarities to what John O'Keefe or other folks have gone through in the state by losing their lives. And you sit there and you realize a lot of times that this is, stories like this, Enrique and Karen catch our eyes. And it's like, this is crazy. We got to fight for this. But then you realize there's so many other people out there too that this has happened to, and it can't stand. And what they like to do is put families like Enrique's in a situation where it's a grassroots thing. People like Karen Reed in a situation where it needs to be a grassroots thing, where people need to fight alongside them because there's no voices out there. And the only way is through the people. And that's what they want to try to do is constantly quiet it down. Even like Karen Reed's situation. Like, I didn't start following that story till late April, May 2023, when Turtle Boy started talking about it. Now, at that particular point, John O'Keefe had already been murdered for 14, 15 months by that point, before I finally, like many others, started to open our eyes to it. And it's the same thing here. They want to quiet this down so much that people just don't think about it, just don't talk about it, just won't say anything about it. That way they don't have to deal with public backlash. And they know that the biggest thing that can cause them to cave is public backlash. And that's the biggest thing, is that the public needs to not forget about it, because they try to prey on people's memories too. People forget about things after a while. We become caught up in other stories that happen after a while. Seasons change, the years go by, and we focus on other things that catch our eyes, like drones. Like drone stories are big right now. That was something that wasn't a thing, right? But that's what happens. We get caught up, and then we start to forget about other things over time. It's the way the human mind works, and they prey on that. They prey on that people will forget. They deal with the initial outrage. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out. We're going to make sure that there's an answer. They say all that stuff right up front. Then as time goes by, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 500 days, and so forth, and you sit there and say, these people never gave any answers at all. And they do that on purpose, and they do that by design, because they never intended to do that in the first place, other than the lip service, other than the public relations statements. And then it's up to us to continually knock on the door and stand outside with signs and say, you will give us answers on this. And I hope that their family, I believe that they're going to file a lawsuit if they haven't already. If I'm not up to date on that, let me know. But somebody deserves to get sued big time. But the real sad part about this is that all the money in the world can't bring back Enrique or ever cleanse the tragedy that's happened to this family here, and that they've lost Enrique. That is the most harrowing part of this entire thing, is that Enrique is dead in an environment where his death should have never been allowed to happen, in which he should have been protected. It's one thing to box somebody or be in any situation and lose. I mean, if you've been in the martial arts or boxing before, you can lose, but it doesn't mean you lose your life. That doesn't mean that your body is battered and your teeth are shattered. This is unacceptable. People need to go down for this, and they need to burn for this. And the people responsible, quite frankly and quite honestly, I try not to talk like this, but the people responsible deserve to burn in hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard you talk like that. Wow. I'm actually taking it back a little bit here. I hear you. I feel your passion, my friend. I feel your passion. And that's, going back to, the thing that bothered me, and I think I said this in a tweet the other day, he was sent off to a facility that was supposed to be there to protect him to protect him to train and get through his training and graduate and be a very productive member of this community, to go out and serve his community and serve justice in the community. And they failed on all levels. And this just doesn't go to the Mass State Police. This now goes to the governor. It goes to the attorney general. It goes to Joe Early. You know, these people are not standing up. If Joe Early had any balls right now, he'd be up on his fucking podium. If he, you know, how he told all the stories. Oh, he was such a great guy. And we always would tell him to go home. Well, why don't you get up on your fucking platform now and start fighting for this family? Because here we are, 90 days plus. Where are you, Joe Early? You ain't saying anything now. You know, what happened to Colonel Noble, this guy that was supposed to come in and start cleaning, cleaning the Mass State Police up. He's the right guy, appointed by Maura Healey. Oh, he's the right guy to get this done. Nothing. No answers.
Placeholder. That's all he is.
That's all
He's someone just to increase their public image a little bit, make it seem like, well, we got someone in here to deal with a lot of the corruptness that's been going on. And then this other individual is called to basically stand as this head of whatever to kind of assure the public that everything's going to be okay. And then this happens.
Yep. No, I hear you, brother. All right. So then I found this very interesting, the timing of this cadet. And I think this is his name is Giovanna Baptiste. And I think this is the video here that I have. Let me see. Oh, maybe not. But I know there is one that I have queued up. Oh, you're going to hear from the attorney general here. So we have to see what she says in all of this.
Yeah.
We'll
Closely following the death investigation of a state trooper. He died a day after authorities say he suffered a medical crisis during a defensive tactics training exercise. The Worcester County DA will not handle the case because of his professional relationship with the victim. However, it has yet to be assigned to another agency for an independent investigation. NBC 10's Bianca Beltran joining us live from State Police Headquarters in Framingham with the latest. Bianca.
And we know the state attorney general is working with the Worcester District Attorney to designate which agency would take over the case. Today, she told us that a decision would be coming soon. But the challenge, as the DA put it, is finding an agency that can investigate an incident involving the State Police Academy that does not have a stake in the outcome.
So we're going to get David Meyer in there. Okay, Special Investigator David Meyer, that has ties to the Mass State Police. Now, granted, he did his work, he did his due diligence in the drug lax scandal. It took him a fucking year to put that together. So are we looking at another year to get answers here for this family? That just seems so obvious as to what happened. You know, and this is what I said even the other day when I had NBC 10 came out and spoke with me. I said, you know, if it truly was an accident, then why wouldn't we have had an answer in a couple of days? This is what happened. We apologize. The people are, he fell back, whatever it is. Nothing, Mazza. Nothing.
Here's the footage of what happened.
Right. Here's the footage of what happened. It's graphic and we've blurred it, whatever it may be.
Right.
So again, it just smells deep, deep, deep cover up. And it comes down to that. I think this single event, when it comes out, it is absolutely going to bury the Mass State Police.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really fucking bad. And that's why they're trying to work their way through this and figure out how are we going to get this on the up and up to the public when this gets released. And I hope it doesn't turn into a situation. And I urge the Delgado-Garcia family, if they are watching, I urge, if they come to you with a big check, deny it. Do not take it. This needs to be public and it needs to be out there. People need to know, because if this whole institution needs to be, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying it, if it needs to be, I'll just say, I was going to say burn the ground, but I'm not going to say that. It needs to be taken down. This is the incident that needs to do it. This is it. All right, let's go back to this one here. Here we go. Let's hear what the AG had to say about this.
Yeah.
Nobody right now apparently knows exactly what happened, but it just doesn't seem right. You don't just die in a boxing ring when something went wrong. I don't know.
Kelly Ochoa says she knew Enrique Delgado-Garcia through his volunteer work at a homeless shelter where he tutored students and dressed up as Santa Claus for a holiday party. She was horrified to learn he died following a defensive tactics training exercise at the Massachusetts State Police Academy.
I hope that whatever agency that they are unbiased and can get to the bottom of what actually really happened, and maybe if someone needs to be held accountable, then let's hold them accountable, because there's no reason for him to have passed on from this. This just doesn't make sense.
The Worcester District Attorney announced Monday he's looking for another agency to handle the case because Enrique Delgado-Garcia used to work for his office as a victim witness advocate. Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell could not say Tuesday who would be taking over the case.
Talking with the DA, talking with other potential agencies to find someone to lead an investigation here who is the most independent, without conflict of interest, and of course will be the most objective. That is in process. I also know time is of the essence. His family cannot wait for a long period of time until that agency is identified.
Former Attorney General, now Governor Maura Healey, would not comment on which agency could take over the case.
I'm sure the DA, early as all of us, want to ensure that there's a thorough and independent review and investigation, and there's certainly a mechanism for that.
And we have been hearing from people who knew Enrique Delgado-Garcia that they would like to see accountability. Now, the Attorney General noted when she appeared on GBH this afternoon that one thing that she's considering is that there could be the possibility of a civil case down the line in which she could be called to represent the state police, which could pose a conflict with her office. Reporting in Framingham, Massachusetts, I'm Bianca Beltran, NBC.
Maza, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. Okay, well, it's been 90 days. It's been 3 months.
Yeah, I can tell you that news reporter was wearing a sleeveless shirt in that video, and I can assure you that if that same news reporter was outside today, she'd be with have a couple layers of clothing on, because a lot of time's gone by since then. That was September. It's been 90 plus days, like you said. This was like early mid September when this happened, and nothing at all. And it's just, again, they all act like they're all, well, we're going to do something, we're going to get there, believe us, we're right on top of this. And then all of a sudden you sit there and it's the 2026 or 2027. Nothing ever happens. This is all going to, well, they're never going to say, let's just be honest, let's just call it like it is. They're never going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. It's going to come down to a civil suit. They're going to try to settle with the family and say, we're deeply sorry, would you take this amount of cash as a lawsuit? And then it will be the family's determination if they want to accept it as an acceptable thing. They want to, from a public relations standpoint, from a state and Massachusetts State Police level, they don't want to deal with the public relations nightmare of all of this. They just want to simply pay a family out. Okay, if we get sued civilly, fine. We'll use taxpayer money to pay out that family, and then let everything else that really happened go on or to fly under the radar. And that's always typically the plan in this state. Which is unfortunate, which is deeply unfortunate, but that's what they want to do, because they want at least the least amount of collateral damage for the state and the state police department as much as possible. That's sickening. It's really sad.
Yeah, and let's throw this out, Maza. What if there's a graduating cadet that's now a trooper that was involved in this?
Sure.
And this person's out serving our community right now.
That's correct.
It's pretty scary.
Yep.
That's pretty scary.
Yep.
Yeah. Or how about this? Even worse. Let's say there's trainer or multiple trainers that are involved in this, and they're getting ready to gear up and train the next class. I don't know when it's. I think it's the spring. They're getting ready for that, and that trainer is going to be able to bring in cadets and train them and allow them to stay on the job.
Yeah,
it's pretty scary.
Yep, it's insanity. Yeah, this is the reality of our state, and not only our state, but our country, that there are police officers and men and women in uniform. And again, this is not an anti-police statement, but there are many great cops out there. But there are many cops out there that are no good, that have blood on their hands, blood of corruption. We've seen this, the devil's hands be busy in the Karen Reed case, where members of the Massachusetts State Police have involved themselves in the framing of Karen Reed and the cover-up of John O'Keefe and his murder. To try to pin it on an innocent woman who is factually innocent. And you also see a situation in which potentially cadets or trainers and or maybe both at the Massachusetts State Police Academy are responsible for the Enrique Delgado-Garcia death. And this is very sickening, like you said, to have these particular individuals out there. And one of the realities that we do see each and every day in our country, regardless of the state, is that there are men and women wearing badges in police uniform that are no good. They are corrupt. They have done bad things in the past, well sworn to duty and swearing an oath to protect and serve, and have absolutely violated the honor of their badge. And it's really too bad. It's insane. It's a sad fact of reality, but I think our part as citizens is to take on everything that we do know about, which is cops that were involved in what happened to Sandra Birchmore, and cops that were involved in what happened to John O'Keefe and Karen Reed, and of course, just en route, and of course, Enrique Delgado-Garcia. But furthermore, any other story we can possibly scrounge up to take on as well. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is to try to call attention to it, hold them accountable. And if nobody holds them accountable, who will? And I think that's where we all come in as citizens, regardless of whether or not you're a Massachusetts citizen or not. This is an American concern, regardless of state, and it is always worth a fight. That is for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I say we have to take to these platforms and fight back.
Yep.
You know, if our community leaders that it's just the strangest thing.
Yeah,
our community leaders that we vote in and give the ultimate confidence to are literally not doing anything. And I tell people, remember this when you all go out to vote. Okay, this is very important. Let's not keep putting the same people in. You know, I think people vote with D and R. They just look at D or R. They really don't look into the politics of the particular politicians that they're going to put into these positions. And they go, oh, well, it's a Democrat up. It's a Republican. So let's just pull the lever. Well, we don't pull the lever. Well, we just fill in the circle.
Fill in the circle.
But
I used to
really-
hate those dots on tests growing up, like the MCAS and all those other tests we had to do. I think it was a CTBS test or whatever it was. You got to circle the little dot. I spent more time making sure the thing was perfectly circled. I do the outer line, then circle it in. But I hate that. It's like, oh, but yeah,
they have the pencil like really like to a point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Sophie says, you got a point, Brian. Never thought about that. It's super scary. And that's about, you know, potentiality, you know, allegedly there could be officers that are out there that were involved in this, or trainers that are still allowed to be at that academy and train. And Mary just said, I want to pull this up as well. Mary said, what about a petition to get them to speed things up? It's not a bad idea. Maybe we start one. It's not a bad idea. All right, let's go into Giovanni Baptiste. I wanted to talk about this, and I found this to be very interesting, about the harassment that he was involved, and he was in Enrique's class.
But like I said, for people like me or people like Delgado, Spanish, or Black, it's really hard.
New at 6, a former classmate of the Massachusetts State Police recruit who died after training says the State Police Academy is run more like a fraternity and not everyone is welcome. The WBZ I-Team was the first to report Enrique Delgado-Garcia was critically injured in the boxing ring at the academy. Thanks for staying with us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. The former recruit who spoke with the I-Team says he experienced hazing at the police academy and says Black and Hispanic people were treated differently. WBZ chief investigator
Mazza, there you go. I mean, this is probably the truth right here.
Yeah.
I mean, just put this in your memory bank, people. This is probably the truth right here.
Cheryl Fiandaca here now with the exclusive story. Cheryl?
Well, Lisa, David, the recruit, says he is heartbroken about his friend and former classmate. He says he expected the police academy to be tough and was prepared for difficult training. But he says he was not prepared for the harassment, humiliation, and discrimination he suffered. And after 18 weeks of training, the police cut him from the class. The I-Team was there when he was finally ready to unpack his academy bags.
This is everything that I have in my bag.
For this former Massachusetts State Police recruit,
And real quick, I just want to put this on the record. I tried to FOIA request his file from the academy. And you know what they went back on? HIPAA, because it would have his personal medical information inside his file. So I wanted to find out, why was he truly released? I wanted to see the reports. What was his what were the reports that were written on this cadet? I wanted to see it. And they said, well, we can't release it because it would have sensitive medical information inside that file. We'll take it out. I don't care about his medical information. I want to know how he was evaluated. And then what was his initial exit interview? And what were the reasons why he was released from the academy? We should know this stuff. But nope, they hid behind HIPAA. Said, oh, there's medical information in that file. Can't give it to you. Can't give it to you.
Photos showing him wearing an academy uniform are all that's left of his dream.
Since I came here in the country, my dream was like to be a state trooper.
The state police dismissed the Haitian immigrant from the academy just 6 weeks before graduation. Enrique Delgado-Garcia was his carpool buddy and his classmate. He died last week after sources say he was seriously injured during a boxing training exercise where trainees pair up and fight each other.
He was a good kid. He was really, really good, helping me, helping everybody. The academy himself is really hard for people like me or people like Delgado, Spanish, or Black. It's really hard. They make it really hard for you. I know they don't like us. They show you that.
He does not know what happened to his friend, but says he was subjected to hazing and harassment from the second week of training.
The first thing that's gonna wake me up, everybody come to my home. They make everybody come to my home. Go home, go home, go home, go home, go home. Like imagine like 180 people like
Maza.
N-word. You don't deserve to be here. It was a lot for me.
An Army reservist, he survived boot camp and 4 years in the military.
Pause that.
Yep.
But says his experience.
Go ahead, Maz.
Surviving. I had a friend that served in was it Afghanistan? I think Afghanistan. Someone I knew, an acquaintance. I'll just say an acquaintance. Somebody I used to work out with. He was an acquaintance. And he went to the police academy. Ended up dropping out of it. He told me that the police academy is a walk in the park compared to going through military basic training and boot camp / boot camp. This gentleman here made it through military boot camp, which is far more difficult than police academies. And yet he didn't make it. He was sent home. There's something to be said about that. Not about him.
Yeah.
But whomever sent him home and made that decision, and he needed to be dismissed with 6 weeks to go. Very notable.
Yeah. And then he said just 2 weeks in, he started facing multiple harassment. The N-word was being thrown at him. That's very concerning.
Yeah.
It's very, very concerning, Maza.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very deep rooted issue. And again, I think this is going to go back to, like you were saying earlier, it'll get dragged out and dragged out. The family's probably going to eventually have to hire a civil lawyer, go after them civilly, and they're going to come to them and just say, here's a big check. And I just, please don't take anything from them. Don't take anything. Fight for Enrique. Make sure this is public. It's criminal. Yeah. And let's get to the bottom of it. Don't let them throw a bunch of money at you, because this is what they're going to do to try to make this go away.
Marine Mom, I think you put a typo in what you said there. I think you meant to say military boot camp is probably harder, I think is what you meant. Or police training is probably easier.
All right, let's go up here.
At the State Police Academy was more like a fraternity hazing instead of elite law enforcement training.
Making me sweep the floor with my uniform, like in my stomach, like it's not a training. What is the training? And that make me counting breaks after everybody sleeping, and like trooper telling me like he will do everything that in his power to not graduate because I don't deserve to be here.
All of this heartbreaking to hear for his wife and young family, who sacrificed so he could go to the academy and realize his dream.
We come here and for him to want to do better. And you get there, you face with you being humiliated, you being discriminated. Training is training. I understand that. I'm in the military. I know boot camp. Training is training. You have to teach your trainees how to really protect themselves out there. But there's nowhere it says in the book that you need to break someone down so low to where they can't study, they can't pass a common sense exam.
He was let go by the state police on August 23rd.
Since that, in the second week in the academy until the 18 weeks, it was really hell for me. It was really hell every day for me.
The recruit tells us he plans to visit his former classmate's family to pay his respects. The I-team reached out to the state police for comment, but we did not hear back.
Jeez. Suzanne says they do not want diversity. They just keep deeply resent grants that help bring minorities into Mass State Police academies.
Yeah, see, that's a great point. Actually, I was just thinking that same thing myself, is that there's probably an internal way of them trying to just vet out and remove candidates that they personally don't want when they're in the academy, and they just say, well, let's just get him out. Let's get him out because, you know, it's not good. It's extremely unfortunate. But again, you know, where is the justification in Enrique Delgado-Garcia losing his life because of that? You don't want him. You want to boot him out. Well, at least at the end of the day, he gets to go home with his life, as opposed to being beaten to death.
I agree. And Mizzy says they should want people of color, especially those who can speak other languages. Yes, and I agree. I agree as well. All right, we'll do a couple more videos here, and then I want to pull up the FOIA request. We can go through that, and I kind of read between the lines in it, and I kind of came to some conclusion. Let's see this one here. This got more healing in it as well, too. Honestly, she had
And there is State Police Trooper Enrique Delgado-Garcia. Today marks 1 week since he was hospitalized after taking part in a training exercise, but we still don't know what agency will oversee the investigation into his death. Our NBC 10's Bianca Beltran continuing our team coverage tonight live in
She did a
Worcester
phenomenal
with what she's uncovered. Bianca.
She really was on this in the beginning, and I think she did a great job, but again, you can't let these stories go cold. And that's exactly, to Maz's point earlier, is that this is what they want. They want these stories to go cold. They don't want people talking about them. They want it to go away. And that's when, they secretly slide the check and say, let's just settle up here.
Yep.
Well, Priscilla, it has not been easy getting an answer to that question. Who polices the police within the state of Massachusetts? And today we asked Governor Maura Healey about public trust in these types of investigations, given that there is no apparent clear answer regarding oversight and accountability of the Massachusetts State Police.
Is there any other agency providing an independent oversight of MSP?
Not that I'm aware of.
Todd McGee is a former Massachusetts State Police instructor, now security analyst. He says typically incidents that occur at the State Police Academy are subject to internal affairs investigations. State police detectives with the Worcester District Attorney's Office have also been tasked with investigating incidents at the academy, such as recruits who were injured 2 years ago during a crawling exercise that resulted in burns. The Worcester DA said state police detectives have begun an investigation into the death of Enrique Delgado-Garcia, a recruit who died last week after participating in a training exercise at the State Police Academy. But the case will be handed over to another agency that does not have a conflict of interest.
I'm envisioning that there might be a involvement with the Department of Justice. Perhaps the FBI may become the lead investigative agency.
What are we waiting for?
And that would not surprise me. That seems to be the appropriate structure.
A week after Delgado-Garcia was hospitalized, no agency has been named. His death prompting questions about what trainees experience at the State Police Academy and who provides oversight and accountability.
I have oversight, and I take that charge really seriously.
No, you don't.
That, for the public's sake, we're giving the very best to law enforcement in terms of support, best training, best instruction. And, it also goes back to why we've got to have this particular incident investigated with answers as quickly as possible.
There's your governor. As quickly as possible. Fucking the most passe way to answer any of it. She doesn't care, Mark. Look at her. Oh, well, we just got to investigate and do it as quickly as possible. It's the standard answer. It's the standard answer in these situations. Standard answer.
She probably knows exactly what happened too. She probably did actually talk with them and then just said, okay, I want to know what happened. Okay, well, I'll go PR that publicly and then we'll slip it under the rug because we know it's all our asses if we don't. So she probably knows exactly what happened. They probably had to report to her on that. Then she just, when she speaks to the public, it's like anything. It's like anything in the government. They know what's going on, but that does not mean the public has a right to know in their eyes. They just want to know what's going on.
Right.
Like I hate to bring up the drones right now, but I mean, I don't want to attack our government, but whether a state or federal level, but you mean to tell me they don't know what's going on with drones right now in this country? Why all this stuff is happening? I mean, they all know.
All cars, come on.
Like,
it's a little scary.
6 foot wide drones.
They're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, come on, what's going on out there?
Yeah, and it's not a prank. It's not a joke.
Yeah, a few of them might be.
Going on. What's that, Mark?
I said a few of them might actually just be people sending up their own
screwing
drones
around,
and
but
start stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look at, we had, almost really was only talked about in September. This case dropped. And like I said, in the media, and then I said I had the opportunity to speak with the Delgado-Garcia family, and it really touched me. And, we started coordinating some standouts. The family's done quite a few, and they've done such a great job. And I commend all the people that have gone out to the standouts and really support this cause. But I sat here in my studio and I said, well, all right, I made a sign. I stood out with a sign. I made a banner. What else can I do here to kind of rattle the cage? And I can tweet 1,000 tweets a day, a week, or whatever, and just really get at this and try to get some momentum in it. And I said, fuck that. I'm going to put a billboard up, and we're going to do it at one of the most, driven by areas in the whole state. Patriots Place, literally right next to the Free Karen Reed sign. So I said, fuck that. Let's put a billboard up and get some attention on this. So put the website together, and here we are now, which is really cool. It's really good. We getting some attention again.
For justice for Enrique Delgado-Garcia, the Mass State Police recruit who died after a training exercise at the State Police Academy in September. Take a look. We spotted the billboard on Route 1, not far from Gillette Stadium. It says it's paid for by LTL Media, an independent outlet. Now, family tells 25 investigates they're still waiting for answers desperately. Shortly after Enrique died, we learned an independent investigator would examine this case. That was also in September. Enrique was just weeks shy of graduating the academy when he suffered some medical crisis during a boxing training exercise. Sources familiar with the investigation tell 25 investigators Delgado-Garcia suffered broken bones, missing or damaged teeth, and a spinal injury. For 25 investigates, I'm Carrie Kavanaugh.
All right, let's go one more spot here, Mark. Then we'll pull up that for you. I'd like to look at it with you. Then we'll wrap things up here in a little bit.
Sure. Today marks 3 months. State Police Cadet Enrique Delgado-Garcia died in a training exercise while at the academy in New Braintree. The family tells us they still don't have answers about what happened or how he died. NBC 10's Malcolm Johnson has more from the family tonight. He's live for us in Foxborough. Malcolm.
You can hear the pain in the.
By the way, this guy is so nice. He came up to my studio. They did that little spot with me, and I actually sat and spoke with him probably a good 15 minutes afterwards. Very nice guy.
Nice.
Very thankful for what we've been doing, on these smaller channels to raise awareness of what's going on. He's like, you're all doing a good thing, just keep it going. So, we'll can kind of see where this thing will go, but God, man, we got to get some traction on this.
Yeah. She talks about her fallen son, Corey. This is a family that still very much is interested in finding out exactly how their loved one died. With heavy hearts, the family of Enrique Delgado-Garcia struggles making sense of how the 25-year-old state police cadet died at their training facility in what was reported as a medical crisis 3 months ago. Delgado-Garcia's mother, Sandra, speaking with our sister station, Telemundo, saying, it's been 90 days and we haven't heard anything. Nothing has happened. My heart is in such great pain and I want them to at least give me an answer, to tell me something, anything. In Foxborough, a billboard demanding answers paid for by Brian Bardsley.
All right, if this truly was a medical crisis during a training exercise, then why not have an answer in a few days? If that is the truth to all of this, and here we go, we're now 90 days out.
The family says they were told the 25-year-old was hit in the head and lost consciousness, and that all of his teeth were broken with bruises on his body. The Attorney General's office tells us the investigation is ongoing. This case cannot be left like this. We have to find someone to blame and seek justice, because this was not an accident.
You're
Sandra
right,
says she wants answers about her son's death. It cannot be left like this. It cannot go unpunished. I want it to be clear to my own people what happened with my son. Just a tragic situation for this family as they now go into Christmas without their loved one. We know that a vigil will be held tomorrow evening in Worcester between 2 and 5 o'clock on Lincoln Street for Trooper Delgado-Garcia. We're live tonight reporting in Foxborough. I'm Malcolm Johnson, NBC 10 Boston.
You know, and that's what I want. I want more Healy to see that. I want the Mass State Police to see that. I want the Attorney General to see that. I want them to know how much that family is hurting. Zero answers.
Yep.
It's beyond words.
Yep.
It's beyond words, Mark.
And to them, they get, the people in power, they just look at this family as just another casualty. We're very sorry for your loss. And a little bit of lip service and a little bit of public relations comments, and that's it. That's all they get. It's a very difficult situation. Never underestimate how far these people will go to cover their own asses. You've seen this in government. You've seen this at the state police level. We literally saw Matthew Farwell get arrested by the U.S. Attorney General Joshua Levy's office because he was not brought into custody by any other entity or department in the state. Yeah. It took a federal agency to take him down and lock him up. That's what ended up happening there. And it's probably what's going to end up happening with those involved in the Karen Reed case one day, and hopefully one day soon, and hopefully one day soon with the Enrique Delgado-Garcia matter as well. That it's unfortunate that nobody in positions of power want to do anything about this other than make a few little quick speeches on a couple of microphones. This is very terrible. It's sad that this happened. We're going to do what we can and use our resources to get to the bottom of this. Then nothing ever happens. They forget about it entirely. They go on about their lives and what they do, and they take photographs, and they show Maura Healey playing basketball somewhere and having a good time, and Enrique Delgado-Garcia probably doesn't even remember who he is anymore. It's very sad, it's very tragic, and it's unacceptable, and it's difficult when we have so many people outside the State House in Boston about a month or two ago, I believe, that were Mizzy was in a chat among them about various issues, and not one state representative could leave that State House that day and come out and shake hands. I know one had a previous time, but no one could go out there and shake some hands and speak with people that are out there fighting for a very big cause in the state of Massachusetts, that people are losing their lives. And there's no accountability whatsoever. There's no true justice. And at the end of the day, that's all we really want is justice for these particular people that have lost their lives. Because as we know, they've lost their lives. They're not coming back because of the tragedy that struck. Many of them avoidable. Especially all of them, and I'm not going to pick up. I'm not going to debate it. Especially all of them. I'm just going to say it that way. There should be more than enough justice here. And at the end of the day, if there's a level of sufficient justice that can be had, that would be great. But at the end of the day, it doesn't bring them back. But at the end of the day, we still want justice because there needs to be at least justice. People need to go down. This is not about having a vengeful attitude. This is about having a justifiable attitude. In other words, if people are perpetrating this, they should suffer the consequences of their actions. If people were involved in what happened to Sandra Birchmore, Justin Rood, or Karen Reed and John O'Keefe, or Enrique Delgado-Garcia, I'm not going to sit here and say whatever, but there should be a level of justice that those particular individuals involved do reap what they sow. From a legal standpoint, not just, this happened, we need to cover our ass because we don't want the state police to be in the public eye looked at as bad. So we're just going to take care of this internally on our terms, which is what's happening with Michael Proctor and many others. They're just enforcing it on their own regard, but not dealing a level of justice and vindication for people that need to see these people go down for what they've done. They do it in-house on their own terms. A lot of these people just lose vacation pay a lot of times and nothing ever happens.
Totally.
We've lost a couple of these guys have lost 4 or 5 days vacation. Whoop-de-doo. They can't go to Miami that week. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
That's about what we get.
Clerk Jim Clown says either the feds are investigating and we don't know, a settlement is already in the works, or the lawyers are not operating in their interests. So I can tell you this, and I'm not going to speak for the family. I'm going to try to say this in a very sensitivity to the family. I'm not going to speak on the behalf of the lawyers for the family, but I will make this comment. I haven't been happy. Okay. So if you want to read in between that, I haven't been happy. They are getting nothing Zero information. No medical examiner's report. No medical reports have been released. Nothing. I want everybody to understand that. Nothing. Zero. You're getting no information, just as much as we are in the public eye. We're not getting anything. And I think that's really what's really frustrated me, because nothing is like leaked out or anything, Maz. Like, it hasn't been like, oh, you know, we heard of this situation, or someone saw the tape and this is what was on it. That's what's really like frustrating me here. You know, no one's come forward. No friend, no person that was there, no eyewitness, you know, maybe a janitor that was walking by and heard or saw something. Like, no one has come forward. And I think that's been the most frustrating in all of this. And shame on you. And I hate saying stuff like that, but shame on you for the people that have any knowledge of what happened on that day in the academy and you haven't stepped forward. Shame on you, because this family's suffering now. Suffering big time. Their hearts are torn in pieces. They just want to know what happened. So let's make that happen. Let's start putting some, you know, real work into this case and get this family some answers. I don't want to have to be doing this in 2026. You know, oh, here we are, a year and a half out, almost 2 years out, and finally we're getting some answers. Or no, we haven't heard anything yet. It's despicable.
Yep.
It's really despicable. So. All right, Maz, let's pull this up.
Mark or Maz is fine, either or.
What's that?
I said Mark or Maz is fine, either or is fine. They're both acceptable statements.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read. We won't read it through this, but I want to kind of cherry pick through this. This FOIA request that I did. So I don't know if everybody can see it here up on the screen. Is it hard for you to read, Mazza?
I can read it.
Okay. So what I did was I just did a general request and just see what I can get here. So I put in, you know, any and all incident reports involving Trooper Enrique Delgado-Garcia at the Mass State Police Academy from April 1st, 24 to September 24. Records of any action taken against Enrique, any training records, certifications or evaluations related to the Trooper, correspondence, memos, or any other documents pertaining to Enrique. So the standard answer I'm getting here says, as you know, Trooper Delgado passed away on September 13, 2024, after experiencing a medical episode at the State Police Academy. The matter is currently subject of an ongoing investigation, an active investigation by an outside investigator. So we have, given the open investigation, the materials you seek or any reports related to the event are not subject to public dissemination pursuant to, and there's the law. Now, what I found interesting was when they talked about right here, among them, the encouragement of individual citizens to come forward and speak freely with police concerning matters under the investigation, and the creation of I can't even read that here. I just went blank. Where did I lose my spot here? The investigation creation of intended that the police officer might be completely candid in recording their observations, hypothesis, or interim conclusions. That's a very interesting statement. That's a very, very interesting statement.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to read, and I think it's on this page here that I found. And again, I wish I was a lawyer. Mark Betterow, jump on the panel. Let's figure this all out.
Fire up the Betterow signal immediately.
Someone fire up the Betterow signal. But I thought this one was interesting too, to protect let's see, this one here. My glasses are all over the place. The investigator's example more allows investigative agency to withhold public disclosure from any information contained in witness statements, which, if disclosed, would create grave risks to directly and indirectly identify the voluntary witnesses. So if people come forward yet, and maybe they have said something and we still don't know, I mean, is that a possibility? Is that why they're putting this language in there? I don't know. I mean, is this just a standard kind of fuck you for here's your inquiry, and we're just going to throw this typical language, legal language out for everybody? I don't know. Is this how they respond to just protect everything? You have witnesses, and then they're going to go on HIPAA as we go here in kind of this statement here. But I found this interesting. The second portion of the video, potentially responsive to your request, depicts Trooper Delgado having a medical episode and shows the medical response. Interesting. So what I think was the video probably started when they were responding as far as the medical team coming in. So it might not be of the beating, but I think they said, quick, get some cameras on this. We need to document it. And he probably had some type of seizure or something like that during this video, video that they took. What do you think, Mark?
That's probably accurate. That's based on what I remember hearing as well, that the camera only showed certain stuff or certain information was actually said to have happened in terms of the medical staff arriving on the scene. What's a little conflicting to me is that if I'm remembering this correctly, wasn't the medical staff, didn't the medical staff actually arrive on that scene? They weren't already present. Isn't that accurate?
There is one there, but I heard from what I heard, a source came forward and said there was a lot of scrambling, and that's why he actually left the facility on life support already. And let's just follow up with this too. Given the fact that the medical event is depicted, so we know it's on the video, so there could be a seizure or something going on. That portion of the video is not subject to public dissemination pursuant, and there's the protective law probably behind HIPAA. And Mary's saying, wow, that's crazy. And really, I want to send this to Mark Betterow and say, can you make sense of this for me?
Right.
Like, I'd love you to look through this, or even Melanie Little, maybe I will reach out to either one of them and say, what do you, can you kind of break down in layman's term this, this language of what they're saying? So again, what I said, and I put this out the other day, I think that response, it's going to confirm there was a beating. We know there's witnesses. He definitely suffered a medical crisis, most likely the result of the beating. We know there's a video, and obviously the Mass State Police are hiding behind the HIPAA and the investigative laws to not expose the truth. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'd love for someone to go through. Let's see. Susan says they can always shroud on the ongoing investigation.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Susan.
So just a sad state of affairs.
It
Again,
is,
I hate saying this. It's another person that we're adding to the list. And I don't want any more lists, and I don't want any more people added to these lists. We need to get conclusions on the cases that we follow that are very important. And hopefully the DOJ and Josh Levy are building their list to take down this whole thing, because it needs to be turned over, flipped over, kicked out, whatever the hell people held responsible for their crimes, and get this back into order so we can have some public trust here in the agencies that are here to protect us in the state. I don't feel confident. Do you feel confident, Mark? I don't.
No, but I have a very negative opinion. I have a very negative opinion. I'll just say it. I'll say it that way. It's not very comfortable thoughts that I have of them anymore. That's for sure.
It's crazy. Sophie says we don't need the loss any longer. I think that's the perfect way to sum it up. It's the perfect way to sum it up. But again, I just wanted to raise some awareness about this. I'm going to keep beating the drum here from my studio. I have not discounted Karen Reed at all. I just felt like this is something that to me was very important to get out ahead of and keep this public and keep people really wanting to know more about this. And I really appreciate the people that have come into these streams, because I still think this is, we have another dead police officer that was beaten up. This is right along with John O'Keefe. And this is very important to get truth for both of these individuals, because they didn't deserve what happened to them. And hopefully we can get some answers. But I will keep rattling the cage. I hope others will jump on this and start talking about it on their platforms. It's really important. And I know it's very difficult to talk about it because there's really not a lot of information. But if I can keep doing kind of a revisionist stream every couple of weeks, maybe there is a new person that comes in, or maybe someone that knew something about what happens sees this and says, you know what, I really got to do something, and come forward and make a statement to a lawyer or an attorney or to the family, whatever it may be. That's why I continue to do these.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be it, Mazza. Again, I appreciate you jumping on, doing the stream with me. I think we came up with $30 tonight. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to round that up to 50, and I'm just going to donate 50 over to the Delgado-Garcia GoFundMe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post that link in the chat, and then we'll wrap this one up. So right now they're currently at $46,000 of their current. They need $60,000 of their goal. I'd love to try to get them to that 60. Maybe we can get some creative ways to get that. So we have the GoFundMe link there. And I also want to just point some attention to the website, justiceforenrique.com. If you haven't gone over, I'll navigate it really quick. It's a simple website. And share this with everybody, your social media accounts, your Facebook accounts, your friends, your family, whatever it may be. We have the QR code that goes directly to their GoFundMe. You can get the basic information that about Enrique's case. We have the running total here, and that will keep running until we get justice in his case. And then you can click on all of these applicable photos here to reach out and contact all the people that are in the authority to help protect these troopers and protect us here in the state of Massachusetts. And of course, if you want a clickable link, you can click right there to support the family on the GoFundMe account. And then the links down here below, just go to my accounts if you want to reach out to me. Yeah, I urge anybody, a friend, a family member, a cadet, a trooper that witnessed any of this or knew or spent time with Enrique, was a friend or a family member, reach out to me. I'd love to know more about him. If you'd like to make a statement, I really would like to put that out there and let people know what a great guy he was, and he didn't deserve this. So, Mark, final words?
Just to continue the fight. Everyone here that's watching the show tonight is participating in that fight. I just want to thank everybody for everything they've been doing. Everything you can do to help is always extremely valuable. In fact, it's invaluable. So I'm grateful for everybody here that's tuned in to watch a show like this. That's whether it's not whomever you're supporting the most or contributing to the most, that's great. But anytime you can help out Enrique Delgado-Garcia and his family, that's fantastic. I'm so thankful for everyone that tunes into these shows, participates. Good to see an active movement of individuals that are not only supporting Karen Reed or Enrique, but also spilling across those other cases as well, and other individuals that have had an injustice gone their way, and just everyone continuing to fight. So that's really great, and I thank you guys so much. And we're yet to enter another week here, closing in on the holidays, but that doesn't mean we can't continue to support these families, the Reed families, Enrique's family, Sandra's family, and of course just on Ruth's family, and just continue to battle and fight. Unfortunately, a lot of these are going to go into another year in 2025, but we're all going to stand tall and continue to endure. And when good men do nothing, evil prevails. And good men have to continue. Good men and women should have to do continue to do what they need to do to make sure that evil does not prevail. So I'll leave it at that, and that's about it. So,
what was I going to say? Oh, by the way, the David Unetti Karen signed photo was one. We raised almost $1,400 on that. Wow. So thank you all for everybody that contributed to that. So that'll go 100% of the proceeds go right to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. Then we're going to hold off and we're going to do the fully signed family Karen poster, David Unetti, where we have all 4 signatures on there. We have Karen, Nathan, Janet, and Bill. We're going to hold that one in January and put that one up for another raffle as well, and hopefully raise some funds around that. I've reached out to the raffle winner. We're in contact. I'm going to get that over to them this week, and I look forward to delivering that. So thank you for taking part of that cause. We just got a nice $1,400 in Karen's account, which is great for her defense. She's definitely going to need it. And when is her next hearing? Is it the 7th or the 6th? Does anybody know in the chat?
I heard both dates. I think it was the 6th, wasn't it? January 6th. I heard getting thrown
around. Maybe someone can confirm in the chat, because I was a little wishy-washy on it too.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat know before we wrap this one up?
Yeah.
Let's see. Now the chat's just silent. It's the 7th.
7th.
Right,
cool.
It
is the 7th. Okay.
All right, good to know, because I'm going to take that off and go up and support that. So Yeah, here we go.
Perfect.
All coming in. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. I love all of you. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on this, please. And I'll make that donation. I'll put the receipt up on my Facebook account and my community page. We'll give $50 back to the family tonight.
Perfect.
Help them out. And I don't know. That's going to be it. Mazza, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to have you up on stream again. And I look forward to doing another one of these of you soon. Bye, everybody.
For Enrique.
Bye.
For Karen Reed.